All right, we're live. What's going on? YouTube Live. We are back here for part 2 of our Marvel rankings. This is going to be the back half of our tier ranking. We are live here on YouTube. We're also live on TikTok as well. So if you want to join us from that platform, that feels good, go ahead. Otherwise, stay here. If you're watching this delayed, big things coming up. We have our full ranking list from the very first project all the way to the newest project, which would be Secret Invasion. It's exciting. So we are going to finish this tier ranking here live so we can go through, talk some things out. Right now, an update for those who may not have seen part 1. We have Infinity War Endgame and No Way Home as an S tier. We have a pretty good chunk of A tier, some B, some C. Essentially, how we kind of figured it last time, S tier is your superior movie. A is excellent, B is good, C is average, D is below average, and then F is a big old fail. So we're going to sync back up here between YouTube Live and TikTok. Hero Scroll, Spider Brando, Funko Lou, Point 3 Podcasts. Let's get into it.
Beautiful.
Which one did you listen? Are you listening to both?
Me?
I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I muted myself here for YouTube, and I just unmuted myself. Talking to the people
we're
here on
up.
TikTok.
We're ready to go.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining, and we appreciate it. But Fabian said about Age of Ultron, he said it's not an awful placement. The movie has a lot of problems, and I think universe-wise it got a little better with more project because the teases paid off. And that is true. But as I stated, what was it that we did this Friday or Thursday, whenever we did?
Yep.
This is the only MCU movie that I ever felt truly disappointed with. And I think for that, it goes so low. I do have to rewatch it, but I'm going to stick to my guns, and it's probably going to stay at that D tier for me. But it could change. Who knows? We'll see.
It could change.
But ranking-wise, it's staying where it's at for me. That I'm not budging on.
That's fair.
What about it? The villain Ultron really disappointed me on it. They kind of also waste Quicksilver for me. This is the most egregious crime that they do with the Hulk. So,
dude, it was the Hulk, but I'll say coming out knowing what Aaron Taylor Johnson said about when they called him up, when Marvel Studios called him up to play the role of Quicksilver, he was at that point in his life where he took roles that gave him more time with his family. So right off the bat, they knew Quicksilver was never going anywhere, which is interesting to me. But yeah, that's such an odd character that knowing how much Flash is no good, they could have had Speedster on lock. Makari and Quicksilver.
That's what I'm saying.
Not touching that.
This one. But yeah, it's just bad character structure overall. But Age of Ultron's gonna stay where it's at, and you'll have to see where exactly it's at in our ranking videos. So
for TikTok, I happen to love Ultron. James Spader, one of the best voice performances in live action potentially that I can think of off the top of my head.
That I will give him. They absolutely killed the feel, but everything else was just off. Sadly,
I'll give you that.
Yeah. So Spider Brando, he's gonna kick it off for us. What are we gonna talk about first for the tier list today? What project you want to discuss to kick us off?
Let's see. Let's keep it not too controversial yet. Let's do
give the people what they want.
Let's do Ant-Man 1. We never I don't think we didn't get to that one on the last one. And that's 2015. It's a bit aged nowadays. Ant-Man's trilogy is finally done. And I have it as B tier.
B tier? Okay. Where do you have it along with your other B tier stuff? Or do you have other B tier stuff?
I do. I only have 3 in the B tier, which is kind of weird. My A and C tier are a little heavy,
What's your B?
but it's Far From Home, Black Panther, and Ant-Man. Not in that
I'm
order.
sorry,
It'll be
that was
Black
B?
Panther.
Whoa, wait, whoa. Time out.
B for
Time
Black
out.
Panther?
Excuse me? Wait a minute. When did we talk about Black Panther and it being a B tier movie?
You asked what else was in my B tier.
What
I
he's trying to
answered.
tell you is he finished his list without us, is what he did.
You asked what else
Right.
I had in my B tier.
Right.
Like,
B tier though.
Okay. Can we move to Black Panther after this?
Yeah, we're gonna
yeah.
need to. We're gonna need to because we're gonna need a big time explanation
it's
for that.
borderline.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
I'm saying.
All right. So repeat what you had on your B tier besides Black Panther.
Far From Home and Ant-Man 1.
Okay.
Where's
All
Tom?
right.
Where's Tom?
Tom is
Have you
crying
entered
next
yet?
to Zendaya. Tom is crying next to Zendaya as we speak.
All right.
Wow.
Ant-Man,
Okay.
C tier. I don't think it's bad. Thought it was pretty good as an origin. But B, I wouldn't say it was good for me. I didn't love the main character. I didn't love Ant-Man. Didn't love Yellow Jacket. I like the supporting characters. It was interesting enough, but it was okay.
I'm debating between a high C tier and like low B tier. And I feel like I'm leaning more towards the upper C tier.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, would you have it over Iron Man 3?
Yeah, because I have Iron Man 3 at D tier, so.
I'm looking off of mine. Oops.
No.
Okay.
So right now I have it over Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, and Iron Man 2.
Okay. I don't know if I'd put it over Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I think I would put it over Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know. It just kind of jumbles. I don't think it really matters for them, to be honest. It's whatever.
Let's be honest, though. That's the best Ant-Man is going to get. Good Lord, Iron Man 3 was not that great. I agree from what I remember. But everybody here on Friday kind of roasted me for that. So I got to go back and watch it.
I see Fabian gets the Far From Home in the B area. At least that's one accuracy in mine.
Far From Home. Where would I put Far From Home? I'd say B, like... C. I didn't love it. It was probably one of the more confusing movies, although when I look back, I have to think hard of where is Mysterio from? Why did he know all that? Everything that they advertised, the advertisement for that movie and how the way that they marketed made it feel like it was a multiversal saga level movie. And you're like, what? And then you get into it, it's like, psych, I got Stark time.
But it is real.
Yeah.
Wink. I would put it at like a mid B. I think like mid B tier, because I do think Fabian, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. I was gonna say that movie is a movie of two halves, and the first half is boring at times. But once Mysterio does become the villain, or once like he's revealed fully, I think that's when it picks up a lot.
Ooh. Weird question. Would Far From Home be better if it came out after No Way Home? The premise of it, the plot.
You know, probably, maybe.
I kind of feel like it would.
I feel like it would.
Chat, do we agree?
We got an interesting thought from Luciano.
If it was actually multiverse?
That's what I mean. Do you make Mysterio or an actual multiverse villain?
Why not? I would say why not? Why not? We haven't seen a live action iteration of him before, to my knowledge. I don't think so. It's not anything that Sony can really stake a claim to. It'd still be interesting enough that if they wanted to open this up in like an Ultimate Universe or a different world or 838 or something along those lines,
Ooh.
you could easily tie that in. But
yeah,
I don't know.
that's one of those. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mid B for me, I think. But speaking about B's, Spider Brando said Black Panther's a B tier movie, and I want to know why.
Just a good movie. It's just a good movie. It's not excellent. It's not superior. It's just good. Wait, can I ask this question? Can we just talk about both real quick? What do you have Wakanda Forever?
C. I like Black Panther 1 better. Can I say?
What?
Spider-Man.
Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take to like Black Panther 1 better than 2?
Transcended hot take.
It's okay to. All right, here's what I'm going to say. I think the first one is better. I agree the first one's better. Or at least for me. I enjoyed the first one more. But for it to be a B tier and then for the second one to be a C tier movie, what do you have in C tier?
I have a lot.
But like, just to compare this, I want to know what you have C tier in right now.
You want to know one movie that probably stands out the most that you're like, why is that in my C tier?
What?
Guardians 2. I was gonna back away.
Wow, this is 0.3 uncertified right now.
This is Luciano, you're right. Pandora's box has been open because we didn't even talk about these yet.
No, you truthfully, this isn't like a planned hot take. This isn't anything along those lines.
No.
We meant to do this because we didn't talk about it. We just saw we had like ranked and all that kind of stuff. But from a tier list, this truthfully is the first time.
Yeah. And just to preface this for everybody watching on YouTube and TikTok, we don't here at Point 3, we don't say hot takes we don't believe in.
Nope.
They're always backed by something. So
insanity might be the answer for this.
In this particular case.
Black Panther is an incredible movie. I'm not gonna say it's not, but I don't know. Like when I'm just going through and tiering them, like just I kind of took the tiers as like what each one did to. So like I explained this on the last one. S tier like blew me out of proportion. A tier like great movies or like above average movies that also blew me out. B is a little bit like they're good. C, like you could C for me is like it's average. I could live my life without watching it. D, just why? And then my haven't watched category. So that's kind of my premise when I went about going about this. Like it's not a bad movie at all. I don't know. For me, I can't really justify fitting it in my A tier. Like
you know what I'll say I find very interesting. I find everything you like about knowing you now, everything that you like about Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse didn't at least bump Black Panther forward. I can understand Wakanda Forever a little bit more, but I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised for Black Panther.
I think that's just what it is, because normally Black Panther's one that. Because I think in a way we also take these tier lists as the movie itself in terms of like filmmaking. And I think this does a lot in terms of visuals. So for it to be B tier is just a little, I personally think low, but that's okay if you don't, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%, dude.
It's it's like on the borderline BA.
So it's like
highest.
upper B.
It's the highest. Yeah, it's the highest in the B, but
because like
it's not
I
like I don't know. Like might have been the movie theater that did it dirty for me because I was working through the theater at the time.
Okay, that's fair.
We had a fire drill during one of the showings for it, and dude, the amount of people that were yelling at me because they were like in the mid movie and had to freaking stop mid movie, I'd be pissed too if I was if I was a watcher.
Yeah, fair.
But I think that bias brought it down a little bit.
That's fair. Well, I have both Black Panther and Wakanda Forever in the A tier. I just have Wakanda Forever in the like A-, where it could be argued it's a B tier.
Ooh.
And then I have the first one in the like mid to upper A tier.
I can say
why would they do a fire drill?
Safety waits for no one.
Dude,
right?
I don't know. It was really stupid. I hated it. It was like on freaking it was opening weekend also.
That's
the worst part.
That's when you got to roll up
Saturday
Captain
morning.
America, flipping the chair around, sitting back. Fire drills are important for your safety. Blah 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 blah. AMC theaters. Blah blah blah.
Yes, find your nearest exit.
Yes.
Quick shout out, really quick. Let's shout out the man Dylan Pickle Funko, as some of every people know him on the TikTok. He's in the chat. What's up? But the cool thing is he's in our Discord, and if you guys haven't,
the coolest.
He shows off what he gets on Discord before it goes live on TikTok. So if you want like the first scoops, you need to go to the Point 3 Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So
all we get is a hey.
Yeah, all we get is a hey.
Yeah,
after giving him that, hey.
That's it. Forget your guys' Discord.
Right.
Ask him what tier, Dylan. What tier do you have Spider-Man Far From Home? S-A-B-C.
Yeah. What tier do you have Far From Home, Black Panther, and Wakanda Forever?
I'm ready to get canceled.
You're not. You're not. I don't think you will be, to be quite honest.
No.
I have freaking Age of Ultron at a D. So B for Far From Home. Okay. Fair. I think that's where we all have it.
Yeah. I would just like to shout out, I do have Black Panther in the S tier and Wakanda Forever in the A tier. Although I have Wakanda Forever higher on my personal rankings than Black Panther by one slot.
You gotta rewatch them. I only saw Wakanda Forever just once in theaters.
I know a movie did something when I go to my most top 25 played, and you have movie soundtracks that are on there. So
that's true. That Black Panther 1 soundtrack was.
You know what? Now that I think about it. Oh, my bad, Spider Brenda.
I was gonna say they're both in like my 2018. All of their songs are in my 2018 replay.
100%.
Shout out to Apple Music also. I'm about to do that. I'm on my hot take. I'm on my hot takes for you. Just let me have this. Apple Music is superior than Spotify, and I don't care what anybody says.
We'll do a music tier ranking next time.
No, you know what? From an aesthetic standpoint, I think Spotify it hits much better than Apple Music.
Absolutely.
It's boring, man. It's the same old Apple stuff. Spotify, get in the car and
it's like
looking all smexy.
On Spotify.
Oh, what
you got your home? You got your home tab. You got your library, which is so confusing.
It doesn't include Point 3 podcasts.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Do you have your own podcasts and like tabbed?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I don't know.
So
I have Spotify just for Point 3. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I just
So what I was gonna say. So Dylan says B for Far From Home. Black Panther and Wakanda Forever are both A, but he could put Black Panther at an S. And then we got Kendrick Goat. And then Fabian also said Brando's just trying to get struck down tonight.
Hot Take Mondays.
Hot Take Mondays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna move Black Panther up to like upper A tier, I think, right next to Loki, or it's cusp of S. Because the more I think about it, yeah, putting it at mid A is not.
It's like you said. It's like you said. You have shows and movies. For me personally, when you get S tier, it's an event. I can listen to it all day long. I'm excited to go see
right. Now that
the
you
shirt,
put that,
the clothes, the merch. Like, I'm going to wait in line for these movies. And let's be honest, when you think Phase 3, you don't think Phase 3 without Black Panther.
No, that you're right. It has to go in S. Oh, you are so right. That was an event, man.
It was.
I was there opening day, and that was still to this day the most crazy opening day I've been.
How many people do you walk by when I literally wore a Wakanda Forever shirt the other day, and I walked in the Target, and someone right there was just bam, Wakanda Forever. We didn't even have to say anything. It was just from over there. They saw Wakanda Forever, it did it back. Like, it was just kind of cool.
Yeah.
You only get that from us.
That's true. All right. I want to talk one that we haven't yet, and I just want to know because I think this is where the MCU really started getting mixed, right? Where everything was either, we like this or we don't, generally. I think this is the first one that everybody either loved it or they hated it. And it started in Phase 4, Black Widow. What chat and Lou and Brando, what are we feeling with Black Widow? Because I think about this, and my first initial gut reaction is I'm putting it right next to Falcon and the Winter Soldier at a C tier.
Oh, bro, I went D.
D?
What'd you say?
Black Widow opened great, and as the movie went on, I just didn't really care for it. I think Fabian nailed it a little too late. This movie was a timing piece for me.
Couldn't make it past the first 15 minutes. Wow.
Yeah,
that's fair.
What purpose did it have? And seeing Yelena in the follow-up, it's MCU implications. Like, we have to wait to see her again in whatever, Hawkeye, and then we get Red Guardian again that no one asked for.
Yeah.
I don't know. And did we really love the Widows and Dreykov? Besides Taskmaster, very forgettable movie for me. And Yelena. Taskmaster and Yelena.
Dude, Taskmaster was dog.
Yeah.
I have it at D tier.
But can we talk about that though? That's an MCU issue. The fact that you can take Taskmaster out of this movie and say Taskmaster was probably one of the better solo film villains that we got, just in terms of capability, threat level, all that kind of stuff. Taskmaster was kind of cool, but everything that they promoted this movie to be, Taskmaster was not, and that's on the heels of. Wasn't Taskmaster? Was it part of the DLC or just something in the Spider-Man game?
He was a side quest.
But it wasn't a DLC.
Yeah, combat challenges. No, it wasn't DLC. I think there actually might have been DLC.
You can't play that game and then go see Black Widow, Taskmaster, and you're like, this is terrible. No offense.
Yeah.
But I was not a fan. I don't know.
Yeah. So we got a Black Widow's a D tier. It should have been earlier, if at all. And I don't know where all these Taskmaster fans came crawling out of when he was turned into a girl. I agree, right? Because a lot of people didn't know about Taskmaster. I don't even think the gender change is the issue with Taskmaster. I think it's just the entire story change of Taskmaster. Because I think you can still make Taskmaster cool if it's just the same thing that she is in the books, just a woman now,
and non-existent.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like a C tier because the good is good. I think Yelena and the family dynamic really pulls it up, and it's nice seeing Scarlett Johansson back, as Black Widow. But it's one of those things that this should have came out years ago.
The MCU's Flash.
years ago.
Dylan, we
have not. We have not.
We can do it next.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I will say this. I think I have a small bias because I never really cared for Scarlett Johansson after Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron nerfed Black Widow for me personally, and I didn't really care for her after that. Even when she showed up in Infinity War, I'm like, great, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't care.
Endgame was her most interesting, and then they kill her. So
yeah, not so much. Iron Man 2, sign me up.
Iron Man 2 and Avengers probably her best.
Avengers, cool. Yep.
Her best. Incredible Hulk. What are we putting Incredible Hulk at?
This is like the definition of a C tier movie.
Dog.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
There are parts of it that I would rank much higher, but overall I'd put it in the C. But I think there's a part of it that I could be like, man, that's S tier.
If I could be blind to everything that is not Hulk in this movie, this would genuinely be an A tier movie. Because every time the Hulk is on screen, I think it's probably the best stuff we've gotten Hulk-wise out of anything, aside from comics. But God, when it's Bruce Banner and when it's Jenna Ross and when it's Betty and oh man, this movie is a drag.
Side note to that, that's why I really do not care about Brave New World that much, that they're pulling in so many Incredible Hulk things. This is where this movie is interesting for me, because to your point, as we go on in the MCU, there are things about this that age very, very well. The viciousness of the Hulk, the way that he looked, just the destruction, very Hulk instead of Ruffalo. But then to pull anything else forward, Abomination, whatever. Ross has been whatever. Do I care about the leader? At the time, I was hoping for it, but do I care now? No, I feel like he's going to be a one and done.
I feel like he's going to be in there for all of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think he'll be the villain for 20 minutes, and then Ross is going to kill him, and it's going to be Red Hulk the rest of the day.
You know, because we've talked about Red Hulk so much that it's not going to happen, right? Just purely because we've talked about Red Hulk.
Yeah, it might.
We're not going to get any good Red Hulkness. I don't know.
Liv Tyler, man, she's probably cool as an actress. I don't remember much of what she's in, to be quite honest. And Ross and Blonsky's actors are good.
Now, 100%. Ross was good, felt very Ross. Blonsky was cool up until he got smoked at university. After that, I didn't really care too much after that for the creepy portrayal and the transformation.
My issue with Blonsky is they make him kind of dumb.
But they show that he's not.
And that's the thing. They tell you that they're like, oh, he's this dangerous, black ops guy. He's super smart, you got to watch out for him. And then he's like, nah, dog, I'm going to go fight the Hulk one-on-one, and I'm going to walk up to him and be like, well, you're a punk.
But here's the best thing. As the fight goes on, after everything that happens, one of my favorite things is when he pulls out a handgun and he's like, bang, 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 bang. Like, do you not realize that there is an army around here and this guy survives sonic cannons, but you're just going to like parkour in here and be like, let me take him on.
I got him.
I guess you can chalk it up to the super soldier serum, but I think that's an MCU problem of how they use the serum and how it just makes people dumb sometimes. My God,
I forgot about that line because they really do. The Ross is like, wow. And the Hulk's just like, bro, get out of my face, please.
That was amazing. That was
great. Thank you for reminding us of that. Because, man, what a line delivery.
Yeah.
What a line delivery. So I think it's consensus C tier.
C tier.
I think it's C tier.
C tier. All right. Speaking of line delivery, I got another one that I'm curious to see because I feel like we might end up disagreeing with a lot of people. Freeze them. Thanks, man. Target. Hit up your local Targets. I still see them. Captain Marvel. What does the chat think Captain Marvel is tier-wise? What do you guys think it is tier-wise?
It's a D tier. No, you know what? It's an F tier. For me, Captain Marvel is an F tier. Not on the standpoint of it is the worst production ever. No. The Dark World, Thor, and some Ant-Man projects have that.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Before Luciano says, I loved it.
No.
As Lou explains, can you please tell us, if you can, why you love this movie? I just want to know. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry, man. I just wanted to know.
For everything that Captain Marvel has been positioned in the MCU and all the impact that she supposedly had, that they verbally told us, never have seen it. Secret Invasion, never saw it. The Marvels movie, don't think we're going to see it. It is probably one of the biggest super flops that I've ever witnessed, and I think Brie Larson was Garbo in this, but was pretty decent in Infinity War.
Okay. All right. So you said F tier, right?
I think it's so far everything we've gone through, this is the MCU's first true fail, and is aged as a failure in my mind.
That's fair. Spider Brando.
First, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know we were doing F tiers. I thought it was just.
So we're out here opening up the YouTube. Yeah, F, D below average. F, and then we got N for not watch.
But
H.
I have it in my C tier, my low C tier.
Interesting.
I thought it was enjoyable for Samuel L. Jackson. And
fair.
There was, I don't know. It just, I wasn't expecting much out of it. So what I saw from it, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Some scenes are pretty cool. But
2 questions for you real quick.
I hated a lot of press that Brie was in at the time, and just
fair point.
I don't know.
All right.
Questions.
But before you get to the questions, I want to catch up with the chat for a minute. So Freezem says, I could do without the Captain Marvel movies, honestly, which is fair because I think the MCU probably could survive without them. My wife says the Marvel shoot is cute. Thank you.
Good
C tier, but the retconning in that movie is atrocious, which is very true. Luciano says that they love their character. Dylan, somewhere between C and D. Luciano again. I will say I was initially upset with the choice to make it as her. If they were going to do Captain Marvel, they should have done the original Marvel. I do like that they did Quasar, even though they are calling her Photon. And then Brie and Sam together would good. I'll give it that from Fabian. Well, and to kind of Luciano, Photon is her own character. She's the second Captain Marvel in comics, and then Photon is later what she becomes known as down the line. So that I think is fine. I think we still haven't seen Quasar. I don't think we're gonna see Quasar, to be quite honest, either. But who knows, right? So
maybe
that part did piss me off.
Yep, Tesseract wasn't the MacGuffin, and again, that was tied to Carol's powers. I will.
Yes. That was a cheap way
this
to
is yeah. If you go back and you do the original Marvel, go the Quasar route, and get the bands with mega bands or whatever they're called. So 2 questions kind of for everyone for the chat in this. If you saw Secret Invasion, does this movie age better, like its MCU implications? Does it feel better or worse? And did Samuel L. Jackson feel better or worse? Because at this point, that kind of was our only origin to Nick Fury. and they did follow it up and filled in some gaps in Secret Invasion, I almost feel this is kind of your WandaVision Multiverse of Madness disconnect, where it didn't feel as good to me. Whereas when we did our reviews, if you go back and listen to those, we kind of were hoping that maybe some things would come up in it with the setup, especially episode 2 preview that they did, where they pulled scenes from Captain Marvel and put them in there to kind of preface all these things. And it's just like, Carol doesn't care. Carol's not here. Blah, 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 blah. You didn't give me a planet. It's like, okay, why don't you just go next to Asgard? Take your 1 million people and just chill. Yeah. Let's move on to the next show.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with Fabian that I think Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury just becomes worse with time. And I think Secret Invasion was the best he's been in a while. But the issue that comes out of Secret Invasion is that, again, it keeps doing what Captain Marvel did, and it just makes his character feel not as cool at times. Where Secret Invasion did it, where they were like, hey, because of us, you're the super spy. Not because of what you did, it's because of us. And then in Captain Marvel, we're like, oh, we're going to see how he comes up, and we're going to see how he loses his eye. And it's probably going to be in like a really cool battle, saving someone or something. And they're like, no, it was a cat. Haha. Right? Didn't you guys love it? And then it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Like, I walked out of that movie and I had a bad taste in my mouth from Nick Fury.
Yeah. Didn't care for the Supreme Intelligence, didn't care for Jan Rog, didn't care for Minerva, any of those crew. And what's his face? Who's the guy? He's always the villain, the black guy in there.
Yeah, he was in Guardians, right?
Yeah. I
forgot his name.
I don't know. I just always think it's funny. He's always like
someone sent me a fan casting of him as Martian Manhunter, which I thought would be really good, actually.
It could be cool. It's got that wise.
Korath? Is it Korath? It might be Korath.
Korath might be.
But the actor's name.
Yeah. I forget. I mean, I have like 15 monitors in front of me. I could probably use one of them, but
there are too many scrolls. There are too many scrolls on that ship, and they did try to. And maybe that's the issue with Captain Marvel. Of we just want to give away expectations, and I remember hearing something. Was it? Yeah, there you go. I don't know how to say that. But what I was going to say, what sucks about subverting expectations is that if you fail to subvert them in a good way, it's almost worse as if you were not even going to try to subvert our expectations.
Yep.
Because you get our hopes up that something cool is going to happen out of it. And then when it's just like, JK, but we got you. It's not what you thought, right? And it's like, yeah, it isn't, but that kind of sucks.
A little bit. Which to you guys would be the bigger offender, Captain Marvel or Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm going Ant-Man and the Wasp too.
Because I think Ant-Man and the Wasp I think Captain Marvel at least serves to try and explain a few things of the Marvel universe and like really try to at least give you some sort of origin. And I think that it still resonates with the audience that it does go for, which I think is younger girls. But Ant-Man and the Wasp is literally a nothing movie. It is literally it gives credence to the argument that people have against the MCU that they're always looking towards the future. That's Ant-Man and the Wasp. You don't need this movie in any way. Like this is like that one TV episode. This is like if One Piece just gave you constant filler. Oh wait, they do. That's what that feels
like. Not as much as Naruto.
I'm going to be the only 0.3 person standing by the end of this.
One Piece has but isn't it true?
Get my Goku take up here.
No, Wait a minute, that's not a hot take. Is it
I'm
not
just
true
kidding,
that One Piece has?
Bro,
It's like
That One
for
Piece
the
has
amount of
like a
episodes.
million.
One Piece has like a
What?
special shield around it right now, or you can't
For
say anything
the
bad about
amount of episodes that One Piece has, this filler percentage is just like the lowest out of the big three, which is insane.
Any armor you think of that is impenetrable, One Piece
like
has on
10,
right now.
11%.
Can't mess with One Piece
Listen,
right now. Period.
I'm gonna say it because I really don't care. Everybody claiming to be that, and I know there are some, and I feel like Fabian and you guys are. I feel like there are people that are OG One Piece fans, which I feel like you guys are. But there are people coming out the woodworks being like, "Yo, One Piece, repping it day one." It's like, no, you weren't.
Listen, there's two reasons. There's two reasons. Gear 5 and the live action. Finally, there's something that people can jump onto who never wanted to take the gajillion episode plunge, but they always wanted to be a part of it. They finally were just like, it looked really good. I can watch 8 episodes. Yes, I watched it. It makes me want to watch 1,000 episodes now, even though I'm not going to. But I at least can talk about One Piece now.
Yeah. I caught up in 2016. But that's fine. You still had enough time. That's what?
Isn't it wild? That's almost a decade. You're closer to a decade.
That's almost a decade of being a fan. But like Luciano says, there's only people that are, because it's popular, and they're like, yo, One Piece. It's like, get out of here. You don't like One Piece. You might like it now, which is fine if you do, but don't act like you
like what. Ooh, I have a good
go ahead
on this. It's like what happened with the MCU in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, 100%.
But you and to that point, I see all these memes right now where there's a picture of like everyone watching One Piece, and then Oda's standing there and no one's around him. He's by himself because no one knows who he is. It's the same thing with Feige. You walk into a room and people are like, I love the MCU, and Kevin Feige walks past and he's like, excuse me, and you're like, you're excused, brah. Like, you're like, no, you don't do that to
like, BRB, I'm going to find the One Piece.
Yeah.
They like the hype and belonging. Absolutely. And that's fine, right? I just say it because I don't like people that pretend to be like, wow, guys, I'm an OG. Because here's the thing. I think Gear 5 is interesting, and I'll be honest, I know next to nothing about One Piece. I do think Gear 5 is cool, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, wow, Gear 5, best thing ever, planet Earth, like peak anime. I'm not going to say that because I don't know anything about it. So
I respect.
Is it cool? Yeah, absolutely.
Respect.
But
respect.
Yeah.
What were we just talking about? Oh, Captain Marvel. Captain last question Marvel. For everyone. If the movie theaters returned all $1 billion+ back to every fan and this movie was wiped away, would anyone care or know any different? That's my question.
What do
you get away with deleting Captain Marvel from everyone's memory, still having Secret Invasion, and still having the Marvels come out in November?
No.
Oh.
Like, it'd be weird because where are they coming from?
I think you could tell. Here's my thing. I think you can recap Captain Marvel's whereabouts in 10 to 20 minutes, and it would be a better representation of her character than that entire movie and her appearances of smashing a ship and getting smoked by Thanos.
Sorry. I agree, though.
I think you can delete her from MCU existence. Therefore, it lives in my F tier.
I'm gonna go F tier, and it's going with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm saying it now.
Fabian, to be fair, people are asking a lot of questions in Phase 5 right now, so I think it'd be fitting.
I was gonna say people are still asking questions though, so it might not be too much different, but
I don't know. I think it would fit with the. I'm confused.
Yeah. Spider Brando, what's your consensus? Where are you putting it?
A.
Oh,
S. Above Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, it's in my S tier.
Oh god,
kidding. It's in my C tier.
C. You're putting Captain Marvel with Wakanda Forever. Okay,
dude. Like I said, my C tier is very interesting.
Okay,
like I didn't know we were honestly most of it. I didn't see the F tier, so I'm gonna blame that on myself for why my C tier is very.
All right.
That's fair.
Very
That's
heavy.
fair. That's fair.
Chat, we're gonna pick one next, or well, either Greg or Spider Brando is, or Lou. Sorry. But in the meantime, give us one you guys want us to talk about while we talk about this next one, and then we'll go to the chat's request next. So,
why do I feel like we just went to commercial right there? I pictured it in my head. I just took a sip of water, put my headphones down. That's fantastic.
Yeah. WandaVision we did already.
I had WandaVision in A.
I have her in A as well. Or them in A as well.
Spider, was that an S for you?
Ooh. I also have it in A.
Oh, okay.
No, A.
Eternals?
Ooh, okay.
God.
Shang. We haven't done Shang or Eternals.
Let's do Eternals and then Shang. I like those.
Let's do it. Thor the Dark, and then we'll do Thor the Dark World per chat's request.
All right, that's our cue.
All right, we're back, everybody. Welcome back from commercial break.
Welcome back.
Oh, excuse me.
This is just seconds too late. Just seconds too late.
Oh man! All right, Eternals, another Phase 4 movie that is dividing people to this day because of its importance and when they'll show up again, and its place within the MCU lore. How do you guys feel about Eternals? And chat, what do you guys feel about Eternals?
There's no hot take here. I have Eternals in the last place in A. It is my bottom A.
You have it in A?
I loved everything about Eternals.
And you're going to criticize me for having Black Panther at B?
Well, in your rankings, I have Eternals above Black Panther, but in mine, it's below.
I have that shit at D.
Eternals stepped out and did something very.
Actually, no, C.
I said this. I made jokes about this. Eternals is the best DC movie at the time. That's how I felt. I enjoyed the epicness. I enjoyed how out there it was, the CGI, the lore, the world building that it did, its explanations of who Celestials are. I thought there was a slightly predictable twist with Icarus and all them, but yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, and the ending was different. And Cersei, I just thought it was great personally. I like the production of it.
I'd put it in high B. At high B. I think that's a misunderstood movie by a lot of people. I think they weren't ready for how different it was. And as Fabian and Luciano are saying in the chat, it should have been a show. And I think that would have benefited a little more in the long run.
Yeah.
But I think for what they do, it's really good. It feels like a character study in a way of characters that we don't know about. And maybe that also hurt it. But to me, that felt really interesting because you can identify every single one of the Eternals and you can say why they are different, as not just as a power set, but as people.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about them and say what their viewpoint of the world and humans are. And you can't say that about a lot of other movies that have that many characters. They do a very good job of characterizing everybody and really well.
I want to see more. I wanted to see more of every single one of them personally. I hope Icarus comes back. I hope Airsham spits out another one or whatever he's going to do. If you guys had to add
Deviants were definitely the weakest part of the movie. Ooh.
I agree, and I thought that was my one gripe about this movie was Crow. I went into this, and this should have been one of those disclaimers of like, don't read any of the comics before you go see this movie. Mm-hmm. I definitely would have accepted that and ran with it, but I had higher expectations for Crow, and I think this was another MCU villain problem. You had an easy villain that could have just weaseled his way somewhere else, and they could have ran back with him, in Eternals 2. They blew it.
Which, And the thing is, even if you don't know a whole lot about comics, the way they set up Crow in the movie itself still leads you to think that there's going to be something interesting out of it. You know, where, okay, maybe he's going to have his own viewpoint on humans in the world. And he doesn't really have that. He has his like 2 talking scenes. And then they kill off one of the cooler Eternals as well in Gilgamesh.
Bro, his powers were so cool.
He was awesome.
So
he was
cool.
awesome.
If I could punch like that in real life, I would.
Yeah.
But
they just kind of
bam.
Yeah, they just kind of wasted it. But I think high B. I still think that movie's misunderstood.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, what'd you have it at?
High C.
High C.
Like the drink.
Fruit punch.
Yeah, fruit punch or orange.
Yeah.
Fruit punch.
Yeah. That random Blade voice cameo, I will definitely say that is probably the biggest crime of that movie.
I don't know, man. I think having Tiamat there was a. If we do get a Galactus that is truthfully looking for celestial seeds, and that's how he ends up at Earth, great. Still don't know how they explain the Fantastic Four, but that was such an odd decision to have it there and then really not following it up. I think that hurts this movie. I think it hurts the movie.
But is that? But can you? Well, yeah, I was gonna say yeah, we can because we did for the others. I was gonna say, can you blame the Eternals movie though? Because I think still within the context of the movie, it fits pretty well. I think the MCU overall dropped the ball on it, and that hurts it. But if you really tunnel vision it and think in terms of the movie, it's not that bad. I think the Blade cameo really just throws it off balance because in what relation, if you're new, right? In what relation does Blade have with Black Knight? Well, you know, because they have the same mystic swords, whatever. But then if you don't know that, if you're a completely casual person, who in the world is talking to Black Knight or Dane Whitman? You don't know. So it's confusing on that part. Why is he looking at that sword? Also confusing because they didn't really explain that either. That's why I think if you just rip out the Blade scene post-credit and put it in Werewolf by Night as a fun little thing, that's literally the same exact scene because then you add that's the dude from Eternals.
Well, bro, I don't know, man. I think that in comparison to you get a Wakanda Forever and Namor is like, don't dip your toe in the ocean because I'm gonna know. And yet you have this mystical elemental being that's just chilling in the ocean. He's like, nah, dude, that's the other. Those are the sky people. They can deal with them. Like, we're just going to sit over here and be fine.
Ooh, see, and this is why we said what we said about the Thunderbolts, I think the other week, because Dylan says, if the rumor is true, Thunderbolts will address/resolve around the Ocean Celestial.
That's fine. That's fine. Can we talk rumor spoilers here? Are we cool?
Yeah,
with that?
Absolutely.
The one rumor that I heard about the Celestial being in the ocean is that's where in the Thunderbolts are going to try to harvest adamantium from, and that's where they get this new world's strongest metal. Val is looking for it. She can't get her hands on vibranium. She really wants it. So what's the next best thing? Let's go find this new stuff out here. Because I don't know, Ironheart made some other sensor crap that found something else. I just don't think it should be used that way personally. I'm like, what's the point? I would much rather have had the entire squad destroy this thing, let it fall into the ocean, bury it until someone's like, we're gonna unearth it. Here you go. Instead of it just being a place for birds to just dump on all the time. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I can. The more I think about it, I don't know, but it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how it's
odd.
Like such a weird decision
that's odd
for them to just decide to leave an ocean celestial like that.
Get Doom
and that goes back to
wanting to harvest it.
Okay. Oh, that would be awesome.
I have issues with it just being Doom. I don't know how to feel. I'm sorry, Spider-Man.
I feel like it would be kind of weird for a celestial body to just happen to be made out of adamantium also.
Yes, they messed up not having this thing be like as old as the Earth. It should have been buried under some mountain. It should have been underwater. It should have been something that every single segment of the MCU, whether it's mystical, the Atlanteans, the Wakandans, the Aztecs, whoever, everyone knows the lore about this thing is that special. And maybe it's something that almost gives you like a Mount Wundagore type of thing of like the Darkhold, Cthulhu, all those characters. Like you're playing with this thing for a while and make it very like special. Yeah. It doesn't feel special, and it should be special. And I'm spending too much time talking about this thing because it's frustrating. My number one offense of the MCU, have two of them are in the Eternals, and it hurts the movie, just like Rhodey being a Skrull hurts Secret Invasion.
Ooh. So Eternals is B.
The Blade.
Blade. The Blade thing, yeah.
That's my second.
B tier. I think B tier is fair. I think like B. Mid to high B is fine, I think.
Yeah.
And there's an argument to be made for C as well.
Yeah.
I think so, for sure.
Shang-Chi. That's a high A, almost S. I go back and forth, but it's high A, almost S.
I will second that.
I have it in D.
Okay, what did it?
I'm kidding.
Wait, what did
I thought that was good.
He said D.
I thought you guys were gonna freak out a little more.
I heard A.
No, he said D.
I said D at first, but I was kidding. I have it in C.
What did this need to do for you guys to be an S? Because I think it has all the elements there. But for most people that I hear, it's just missing something, but people have a hard time saying what it was missing to not be S.
That's the thing. I've tried to think about it, right? Because do I want to give a spoiler ranking? Should I? Just to tantalize a little bit?
Go for it.
I think all of us, okay, not all of us. I just found out which one didn't. I won't say who. Two of us have Shang-Chi in top 10 MCU movie. But it's still within top 15 for all of us.
Which top 15 is literally the equivalent of what I would probably say top 10. Shady.
Listen, Spider-Man. Spider-Man threw it on himself, man. but you think about it, out of all 45 projects and how many bangers we've had, for it to break top 15, that's impressive.
Great.
That's impressive. But I couldn't tell you what holds it back. It's high A, like it's kissing S, but I couldn't tell you what's holding it back. I don't know.
I think the CGI FS at the end was just kind of what threw me off from like it had so much build up and so much what was it? What's the word? Build up and payoff towards the end of it. And then I don't know, I just like wasn't too satisfied with the whole like dragon fight practical effects.
Really?
Oh no, actually I have oh my god, I just remembered there's one scene in that movie that pissed me off so freaking much. And as soon as I got out of the theater, I told my friends how bullshit it was. So you're telling me this girl Katie has never shot a bow in her entire life, just happens to randomly find one off the ground from one of these dead people that she was fighting along with, picks that shit up, aims it up into the sky, and just lets it fly, and it just somehow hits the dragon in the exact spot that it has to be hit. That's some bullshit to me.
Movie's got to end somehow.
At least make like freaking Shang-Chi the one to do that, or freaking I don't know. It just felt like that was such a stupid payoff. It didn't
bother
didn't
me.
sit right with me. That pissed me off.
I was gonna say, was Katie maybe the issue, where she was the comedic relief in a movie that kind of had too many comedic reliefs.
I liked her in it. That to me,
I liked her too. Yeah,
that
I just
moment,
didn't like
I
that bow and arrow thing. That was just it pissed me off.
Did them bringing back Trevor bother anybody? I don't think it didn't bother me. I think it was
redemption in my mind.
Yeah, it was redemption, and it was. I feel like the 10 rings going after him was great.
Yeah.
What the Funko? Hey, how's it going?
Listen, there's two quick things with this one where I think this is the hard part when you think of a movie like this. Again, I've always harped on this. You have your layers. You have your movie level, you're going to have your saga level, you have your greater MCU, and then your superhero movie level. And the way that we've had to justify our enjoyment, likes, and critiques at each of these levels while moving between them the entire time, it's difficult. Like, you didn't have to do this 15 years ago. It just was. Phase 1, you're like, oh, superhero movie. I'm comparing it to the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm comparing it to X-Men. I'm comparing it to Tobey's Spider-Man. Like, there isn't too much. Now you have all of this. So for me, when you hear 10 rings, you go all the way back to Iron Man and Iron Man 3. People don't like Iron Man 3 because of the whole nerf thing and the 10 rings, and this is blah, 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 blah. You have that pull, and you're like, if we would have gotten this before, wouldn't this have been a lot cooler? And then you go to the end, and you have a lot of people that are like, this is pretty cliche. Asian character, why does he have to fight a dragon? Why does this look like this? Like, this is kind of like stereotypical, whatever it might be. And then you have CGI in a time where CGI is slightly changing at that point post-COVID, and there's more of a reliance on it in terms of those style of effects versus practical effects. And when you look at these things, you have to think for a second whether I like it or I don't. And that to me is not S tier. There's no question with S tier. Or if I see it, I completely overlook it. I shoo, poo, whatever. No big deal. This, however, to me, all those things being said, it was right there. If this came out not during the time that it did and had more build, had a better MCU tie-in, and they set this movie up and then also gave it really good post-credit scenes, which, again, this is in the league of not really. It had the music, the characters, the action. Like, it had everything going for it. It was just a tweak here and a tweak there. And I think in hindsight, easily fixable. This is a top 5 to top 3 movie.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to my rant.
The bus scene was dope.
Bus scene, yeah. Yes, we are talking What the Funko says, not an S tier movie, which is fair. And Fabian says, I get people wanting a more hand-to-hand finale, which I think maybe them just centering it around him versus Wenwu instead against his dad maybe would have also helped it out, instead of it just being like, hey, have a dragon which
that could get destroyed by one arrow. Like, get the fuck out of here.
What about the Mandarin? Are we talking Trevor or Wenwu? If we're talking Wenwu, easily top 5 villains in MCU. No doubt in my mind.
But had room for more.
But definitely had room for more.
I wish they would have known about this when they started phase 1. I wish they would have known that this was going to be the Mandarin that they wanted.
Trevor? Oh, I think Trevor was good. Yeah.
Trevor's fun. We're going to see him again in Wonder Man?
That's crazy. Are we really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's Wonder Man's another interesting topic. So what's the consensus? A, I think, right?
A.
Yeah.
Aldridge killing it.
Oof.
Iron Man.
Like A, kissing S, like right there.
Bro, I mean, I'm talking like slow, smooth. The candles are lit.
Like, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
100%. All I hear is just Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
That's the kind of. 100%. For the Dark World, a movie that's not kissing S.
F.
I don't want to say what it's kissing, but it ain't a C and it ain't an F.
Freaking cheeks. It's kissing grandma cheeks. That's what it's kissing.
All right, let's go.
I'll be honest. I rewatched it. I rewatched it when we did our trilogy rankings, and I have a better appreciation for it. And I think out of everything, I'm gonna give it like a upper D tier. Like it could. I genuinely think this is a tweak or two away of being a C tier.
You've said that. I'm curious. It's not as long-winded as I go. I'm so sorry for taking everyone's time when I do this because it's rants. It's rants. But what can be tweaked here with the Dark World? Because I don't disagree with you, but I'm curious what you think.
Fabian, see you later, man. Have a great night. Thanks for joining in. We really appreciate you. So the first thing that jumps out at me is the dialogue. The dialogue in this movie is rough. They say a lot of the jokes and a lot of the way characters interact are kind of dumb at times. But then there's great stuff of how Thor interacts with Loki, how he interacts with Jane. Like this in this movie, his relationship with Jane feels amazing. And I think people kind of forget that because it's bogged down by a lot of bad stuff. Then I also think the biggest offense to this movie is wasting its Loki reveal halfway through the movie. Because and for those that don't remember, Loki, they're in that other dimension, I forget where, and he's fighting Curse, and Curse kills Loki, right? And honestly, I think they could have gotten away with it if they left it the same way because his body starts like turning black. They really sell the death. But then not even 5 minutes later, they show a guard get up the floor after having like a green shimmer effect. And it's like, oh man, that really, I think, wasted what could have been an incredible reveal at the end of the movie of Loki, the same way that they did it of Odin, him chatting with him and telling him, go to Earth, Asgard's going to be fine. I got this. And then it being Loki. I think that would have been fantastic.
I think that goes hand in hand with the whole tone of the movie, or at least what I believe for the people who are behind the production of this is it did not feel confident.
No.
They played it way too safe, in my opinion. Just overall, and I think that shows in every single act of this.
Yeah.
Just like tiptoes.
Yeah.
Like, commit.
Yeah. And that's why I say, I think, again, you tweak those two things and more, right? Because I do think there needs to be more done to get it in like the upper echelon of movies. But I think you tweak that and it becomes like a C tier movie, which is like, a good to average movie.
I'll give you that. That's fair.
So, but I don't think it deserves the F tier that everybody puts it at. Is it still lower MCU? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But I don't think it's like as bad as people say it is.
What about Ragnarok? Do we do Ragnarok?
I think we should. I think we should go through all Thors after this.
Spider Bizzle?
Well, you got Ragnarok.
This one.
This is I have a list of movies for you. This is one of them I want to see.
So, you guys know how you thought I was crazy for having Black Panther where it had Black Panther. Just looking at your guys' rankings, where you guys put Ragnarok, it's respectful. It's an A tier. It's A tier, borderline S for me. I don't know.
I have top 15.
I want to put it in S.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's top 16.
That's a delicious.
Yeah, it's top 15 for everybody.
This is.
It's not top 10 though.
But it's
a top 10 movie. This is top 10 movie. I put Thor back on the map and made him amazing again.
Yes, the
great plot, great humor, and a great villain. I'd say hell is a top 10 villain. It had everything you wanted in an MCU movie. I don't see how it's not a top 10 movie or A tier.
Oh, what a Funko!
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
The Hulk part. The Hulk.
Yeah.
Is what brings this into A tier for me. I have it in A though. It's not B.
Oh, I have it in A also.
I have it high A.
Borderline.
I think high A is where it stays.
Just think of how I want to put it borderline S just because it's like I feel like you need this movie for Infinity War. It leads right into the beginning of it, and we say our S tier movies are event type movies.
But it doesn't feel like an event.
It didn't feel like an event to me personally.
People weren't flocking for Ragnarok.
Was it Spider-Man? Was it for you? I don't.
They were flocking.
Yeah.
Really?
That was a freaking dude. That movie did great numbers in the box office.
But opening week, I'm curious if it had legs and it just kept going because obviously it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think this is a great
Ragnarok and it's freaking God of War.
Here's what holds it back for S for me. It's the Hulk, and then I'm going. It's the thing that I don't like about this and Love and Thunder specifically is how they take plot points, really good plot points, and just take them for laughs, right? Because again, I think Thor: The Dark World set up a really good and interesting reveal with Loki being at the throne of Asgard. How do they pay that off in Thor Ragnarok? As a joke. And not even a funny one. It was a bad joke.
Yeah.
120 million. It's a good opening for sure. I don't know. I just think that's what the Hulk and that hold it from an S tier for me. And they carry that over to most of the movie as well, where, comparing it to the other Hulk movies, this is still an up. I agree, but it's not. I don't think it's enough to make it an S.
What would have made this an S for me?
Dylan, thanks for joining, man.
Good night,
appreciate
Dylan.
you.
Yeah,
have a good night.
You stick a little bit closer to that Battle Hulk aspect.
Yeah,
one character makes this all better. Beta Ray Bill.
Dude, oh my God.
That really bothers me. That's one thing that really bothers me in this movie, that he didn't show up. I feel like that was like, they softball tossed to you and just like, knock it out. And they're just like, we'll just give you like a face carving.
Yeah. Oh, Valkyrie.
I don't know. I don't know too much about Beta Ray Bill, so I didn't really have much expectations or I guess what's the word, not having the payoff be there from I just didn't have the expectations for it. I'm trying to get all fancy with these words, but just
I think honestly though, I think at this point we're not getting Beta Ray Bill. I don't think we ever will, unless there's a reboot of Marvel. It feels like Thor Ragnarok and then Love and Thunder was their two chances to really introduce him, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're getting him. And it's kind of sad because when you think of like all the other big like projects like Captain America, Iron Man, they all have their like sidekick second person, and Thor's definitely is like kind of Valkyrie but kind of not, and they missed out on a chance of really letting it be Beta Ray Bill, and I think that would have been fantastic if they did.
Awesome character. Awesome character.
A-tier movie.
Yeah, A-tier movie for sure. I mean, it was okay. I think I accepted at this point that Hulk's story was going to be told within other movies, and we don't get a standalone Hulk due to the rights, all that other stuff, the deal with Universal, all that junk that went with it. This was a turning point for me with Hulk to where he was kind of a baby. And Ruffalo kind of had a chance to step out, but it didn't feel like Bruce Banner. It felt like Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And I think I will admit this probably is an S tier for me if I'm not looking at these two storylines mainly centering around the Hulk because of what I knew from my source knowledge. I think source knowledge hurts me with this one.
But it's hard not to, though.
Yeah.
Especially with what they present in the movie. It's kind of hard not to. Because even then, they kind of celebrate the Hulk as this giant warrior. And you get that in like one fight, but you never see that again until when he fights Fafnir.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after that, you don't see it again. So, like, you don't see him go fight Surtur, So, I don't know. It's
I can definitely understand how this is S tier for a lot of people. I think Absolutely. A is great.
Yeah.
But I can see that people are like, when they think MCU, they think Ragnarok for sure.
Absolutely. And that's more than okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of MCU and people thinking about Thor and not liking and maybe liking stuff, Love and Thunder.
D.
Dude, it's D, but should have been an A.
Yeah. I would actually put it right next to The Dark World.
In a different way, very different movies. But yeah, those I wouldn't. Those are separated only by a line for me.
Yeah.
It's another thing with Thor. Like, I mean, at this point, do you guys get the sense, maybe those of you in the chat, that I feel like Marvel Studios thinks because Chris Hemsworth is going to be on screen, that's enough?
Yeah.
They definitely did going into it, but I don't know if they're going to be thinking that anymore.
No. Well, here's the thing. Because people were talking about, I think it was like last week or the week before, that Thor Love. There was rumors about a Thor 5 coming out, and people were like, "Boo, boo! We don't want a Thor." And to me, I don't think Thor is the issue. I think it's more so the writing around Thor. Because if you look at what this movie made Guardians of the Galaxy 3 numbers. Like very similar numbers. Mm-hmm. Very similar opening weekend, very similar domestic and worldwide box office. And its theatrical run at the same time. So it would almost be dumb of Marvel to not make another Thor.
For sure. I
just think that if they do, it needs to be a different kind of Thor.
Well, since we're on the top, Brando, you obviously love Ragnarok, and we just talked about it. But what was the difference for you between Ragnarok and Love and Thunder? And if they made a Thor 5, what would make a Thor movie feel like a Ragnarok again? Like, what's missing and what's needed?
That's a deep question.
Because it's odd.
I don't know. It's just like I don't even know how to describe what I didn't like about Love and Thunder. That's the way it was portrayed, I guess. Like, I liked Portman and Mighty Thor aspect was kind of cool, but I thought we were going to get way more of God butchering and gore. And kidnapping little kids and was little mean.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. To me, Hela was more of a menacing villain than Gore was to Thor's character. And I think missing like on a strong like hero to villain conquest like that was missing. Like Gore wanted to kill Thor just because he was just another god. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna kidnap these kids." Hela had it out for him because that was her fucking brother.
Yeah.
And when she wanted the rightful throne to Asgard.
Yeah.
So maybe with Thor 5, now that he's got his can we spoiler? I know someone said they haven't seen Thor 5.
Spoiler. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Now that he's got his new little daughter out there, I have no idea what to expect. I genuinely, I don't know. Thor's been through a lot as a character. He's one of my favorites. He's got a little done dirty, but understood why he got done dirty because of what he went through and all that. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what to expect out of Thor 5. Or how it can be better. Like, just less witty jokes, more seriousness again. But not as, like, Dark World serious.
Yeah.
That was trying to be too serious.
So the chat is saying they like the idea of Jane Foster as Thor and going back to Beta Ray Bill.
I thought that was cool.
And Gore was not a menacing villain because he killed only one god, and that I think is true. This is again a movie where if you do those one or two tweaks, it could probably be a C to B tier movie.
How do you not go after Peter Quill? You have the Guardians in
Peter
there.
Quill. Yeah, but it's also the fact of they tell you Gore's a menacing villain. They don't show you. And part of the mystique of Gore is seeing him do what he does. You know, imagine seeing the fight where he kills that one, the one giant god, and then he kills or almost kills Lady Sif. You know, that would be great. That would be such a cool fight.
Especially having an actor like Christian Bale.
Yeah. And then you think, and then they almost kind of tease you a little bit because they're like, hey, they're in the Hall of Gods. You might see something happen and then you don't. And it's like, bro, but why? Why didn't he show up there and just start killing everybody? Like, imagine how much better that movie is.
Then they couldn't do a Thor no pants joke.
I know, and that's why I say they hold themselves back with the jokes. Where if they didn't, that one scene, I think changes the outlook of how a lot of people see that movie.
Oh, you had easy way to roll people in. Thor goes after Zeus. Zeus knows that Gore's around. He doesn't like Thor. You pull him here. Hey, listen, you take this guy out. I'll give you all the other gods that you want. And I'll just feed them to you. Easy. Could you imagine something even like there's the Panther goddess is there and she shows up and you get Astral Plane and like Killmonger's like, nah. You know what I mean? Or like something funny and like you expel him and then you go and you hit and like, oh, here's the Aztec and the Mayan lore and all these things. Like, I don't get how at this point you don't automatically have references to world building every single movie. And all these things are self-contained. That's fine. But when you look at these budgets and you're like, why are you spending so much money on lightning bolts? spend some money to build the story, make it cleaner, and pass something along that feels like it actually connects to something versus you just being like, hey, here you go. Here's the baton. I'm just going to chuck it 1,000 yards and hopefully you catch it. If you don't, maybe fans will forget. That can't be a thing.
And to your point, they showed how well they could do that in the one part where they essentially go to that part of the universe where it's like all black and white because it's the darkest point or whatever. That was cool. I think that was really neat.
For sure.
Because it built a nice part of the cosmic world of Marvel that you probably won't ever get to see in any other film, you know? But it was cool to see that. And they did the cool effects where, you know, it's all in black and white, but when they're clashing with the swords and the lightning, there's bits of color. I thought that was fantastic. But then it's like they don't commit well enough, like you said, to exploring that more. And where Thor the Dark World, you said about how it doesn't feel confident in everything. In a way, this also feels that way, where it's like, for some reason, they weren't confident enough in Gore and building out a world of a pantheon of gods from other places. I think this suffers from the same thing, just in a different way.
Easily.
Yeah. Luciano, thank you. We really appreciate you. We're live on YouTube probably every
Monday.
So follow us on Point 3 Podcast at Point 3 Podcast, and you'll stay up to date. So
join our
live chats. So
updates.
Yeah, and join our Discord if you haven't already. And that's for everybody. Awesome. Everybody's invited. Let's wrap it up with the first Thor. Thor number 1.
I want to say C tier, and I'm going to stick with C tier. Thor, C.
What avoids it from being a B?
It feels too, I don't want to say fluffy, but like over dramatic. It feels very played up. And at this point, when I saw Thor, like Viking, Norse gods, those types of things, I'm very into that. So when I hear Thor and I hear Loki and Mjolnir and all of those things that are set in legend, I'm thinking that's automatically going to be BA. And then it's like, oh, but he's the handsome blonde guy whose hair blows in the wind. Ooh, let's follow him. He's so hunky. I do miss me with that. No, I don't care for it. I'm sorry. I don't know. It just feels weird. Thinking back on Thor, it's just such an outlier.
I disagree.
Oh,
but I'll let Spider-Brand go first because I want to hear his thoughts.
I have it in my C tier as well. It was just like, I don't know, compared it to Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, it just didn't hit the same like origin as those movies did. And I get Thor. No way. Thor came out before Avengers 1, right?
Yes.
All of them. They all got their origins before Avengers 1, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, oh yeah, because Iron Man, one of the Iron Man's post-credit scene was Thor's hammer. I don't know. It just like seemed weird for its time. And if it were to come out today, I would be getting Dark World criticisms.
Wow.
I could see how Thor today might not make it through the internet unscathed. What I did like about it, and where it is in C, where I'm like, okay, this is an average, could be a good movie, is when you do get Avengers, you understand who Thor is, you understand who Loki is, Loki's motivations, how he's working, why he gets a Chitauri, why he wants to take what Thor holds most precious to him, Midgard, why he's willing to go through those lengths to be like, I'm going to destroy it. I don't care. It's me versus you, brother. Like you get Thor's very established in this movie, and I can appreciate that for an origin-based movie in the MCU.
That's
I was
fair.
gonna say I have it in lower B tier.
Okay.
I think out of beside the only other ones that do better, I think, are Captain America, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man. But out of all the other origin movies, I think this is a really good one. Like, it's really good. They really set the standard of what the cosmic Asgardian side is gonna feel like.
Sure.
And they commit to it 100%. Because while I agree the whole like hunky blonde is still, a little silly, but they still really play into the gravity of that.
Mm-hmm.
Of these gods
Fair.
are here. Like, you think about what they do with when they find what Shield does when they find his hammer, they create this whole construction site because they in a way know what that is, and they're like, what in the world? Yeah. And then the destroyer comes down and it's destroying this small little town and I think that's the cool thing. They really made the scale feel good because on Earth they're fighting in this small town that nobody cares about, but these big events are going on. And then in Asgard it's the biggest thing because the Rainbow Bridge is getting destroyed, the Bifrost, Odin's asleep, Thor's who knows where banished.
Get your infiltration from frost giants.
Yeah, Loki's getting in there. Yeah. It's when you genuinely think about it, the scale of what they do in Thor is really well done. They execute a lot really well. And then they give you the side characters. I mean, you don't get Loki without Thor, the Loki that everybody and their mother loves. You don't get Heimdall, who probably feels his coolest here. And the Warriors 4 feel really good companions to Thor. And Jane Foster and I forget her name, Kat Dennings' character, Darcy and Dr. Selvig all feel like good, complete characters, and they feel like a fun friend family unit. I don't know, man. I think Thor is one of those. It's another movie that I think because of Thor, The Dark World, and then Love and Thunder, it kind of gets forgotten as how good it's the red-headed stepchild, unfortunately,
Fair.
It's the black sheep of the family of, the other two are always considered so bad. And then you got Ragnarok, which is the favorite child. And then they're like, oh yeah, Thor's there, by the way. Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to my rant. I just really like that movie, and I feel like it deserves to be defended.
To be fair, positioning it that way of like, why Spider-Brand, hearing what Spider-Brando said about Ragnarok and hearing you about Thor and knowing that you pretty much told me exactly what I am of like, I forgot about this movie and I didn't care to go back because I'm like, how many times can I see Thor for like the ninth time and I have to rewatch this? I don't really want to put the time in, to be honest with you. But recalling all those events, I'm like, it probably is one of the better origin movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
That can't be a C tier movie, can it?
I don't think so, because then also the fact is they never downplay Thor's strength either. Which sometimes some of the origin movies have, where it's just, they're like, oh, I'm you, but better. They don't have that. No, they establish that Thor is a problem. He's a war-hungry problem. And then by the end of the movie, he's changed a whole lot. He's a whole different character because he realizes what you can lose because of war and what you can gain if you don't go for it. And I don't know. I think they do a lot with his character. They do a lot with Loki. They do a lot with Odin. Because I also forgot when I rewatched this, Odin is a big part of this movie. He's constantly telling Thor that he's proud of him. And he still, and I think people forget, he loves Loki as his own. That's why Loki doing this really hurts everybody, which at first makes him a really despicable villain. I don't know. I think Thor's great.
One last question. One last question. If Thor comes out and kicks off the MCU, would Thor be considered an A-tier movie?
Probably.
And not Iron Man. Because Iron Man, a lot of people say it's the origin, it's the first thing, it's this or that. I would argue that Thor potentially has a better origin story than Iron Man.
Yeah, I'd agree. Because I think what always puts Iron Man highest, and I'm guilty of it as well, is that it was first. And I know what the photo says no, but I think so.
Take away it was first. Take away it was first, and movie as a whole. It has the evil twin issue that comes with it, the classic potential propaganda storyline that comes with it.
When's the last time you saw? When's the last time you saw Thor?
Thor?
Yeah.
Probably 2000, probably before Ragnarok, honestly. In prep for Ragnarok, most likely then.
Did an MCU rewatch in like probably at least 3 years, 3 to 4. I don't know. Even bias aside, I don't think I could say Thor 1 is a better movie than Iron Man 1.
But I think you get.
I don't know if it's better, and I think we could argue it that it maybe could be. But I think it deserves higher praise than people give it.
Okay, last question. Which movie was more impactful, Iron Man or Thor?
Thor. 100%. Because I think Thor is what kicks off the Infinity part of the Infinity Saga.
Kind of, yeah.
You don't get
Thanos.
The Infinity Saga without Thor. You don't get Avengers without Thor.
No.
I don't know.
That picks up right
That's true, because I mean, realistically, Thor could get sent down to Earth without Iron Man becoming Iron Man. So Thor's the more impactful.
Thor might be.
That's my argument for it to not be a B tier. I truly think this is a C tier. I think this is a B tier movie. Like, I genuinely think this is, and as we've talked about it, I said lower B. I think mid B is a little better. I would put this next to Doctor Strange. Like, right next to Doctor Strange. Which I know is a crime for Spider Brando, but I don't think that's a knock on Doctor Strange at all. I just think that
No.
Those are like, yeah, I never really looked at the difference of Iron Man. Absolutely, yeah. Which I think is just something that people forget at times.
Definitely easy to. I think that was a good one to end it on. I think it was a good one. Shout out to the Harley that drove by.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's always the one neighbor that has the Harley for some reason.
Dude, at first I was like, there's no way that someone's upset stomach right now.
No.
I was fucking dying.
Good times.
Great times. I think we end it there, and
also
we do, which either we do on our own or maybe part 3 on later on in the week. I don't know.
You can make it work.
We'll figure it out.
Dude, I just realized this tier list that I use has the image for Guardians 3. It has the Spanish poster for it. Galaxia.
Do we, guys, do we do this? Do we take this tier, finish these off, and we do a part 3, but we add the legacy movies from 2000 and above? Any Marvel legacy movie, we add those into this and see if our tiers rank MCU.
Just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun.
Ooh.
Let's do a part 3. Get some Tobys in there, some Andrews, X-Men.
Yeah, that doesn't even have to be this week. We just put it in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do a part 3. We'll maybe not every single one of them. We could pick a handful of like the top ones and see how they stack up. Maybe an Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse in here as well.
Oh my god.
Nah, shit.
Does it top anything in the MCU?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So that was easier than I thought. I was expecting you to like build a suspense to be like, maybe find out next time on our show.
Okay. For Across and Into, yes. But everything else, there's a discussion to be had.
That's fair.
Because Spider-Man 2, X-Men First Class, X2, Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Logan,
Daredevil 1, or the Ben
Netflix
Affleck
shows.
Daredevil.
Let's get the Netflix Daredevil.
Elektra.
Yeah,
Elektra.
Something else needs to be F tier.
Yeah,
Blade. It's on Max, by the way. I don't know if it is it out yet. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's this weekend.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Dude, I was still doing earlier. I couldn't. I've never
I think
seen
it's this
it
weekend.
yet, so I gotta watch it.
No, not Ben Affleck Daredevil. Why not?
Logan, you don't want to see him oh my god, Logan
going through swing sets.
Yeah, love that.
Which, if people don't know,
here he goes.
It's in here.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah. There's a scene where it's actually when he first meets Elektra.
Oh.
That's what he does to impress her, because she's like, "No, you're blind." Ew. I'm paraphrasing, but she's basically like, "No, you have you're disabled." And then he's like, "Backflip." I'm not. And then she's like, "Wow, you're hot."
That was a good summary, actually. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Frank Miller's Frank Miller's good, everybody.
Hey, listen, you heard it here, Point 3 Podcast. We're going to do a part 3. We're going to throw some legacy shows and movies in here and see how they stack up against the goated MCU.
That's going to be fun. Make sure to join us. And if you want to know exactly when, follow us on our socials, here on TikTok, Point 3 Podcast for the YouTubers, or, here, Point 3 Podcast channel. We're on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find us and listen to your major podcasts. And then also, if you want to join us on our Discord, do so, because we love talking to you guys. Not even just about movies and, the MCU. We talk about everything else, sports, video games,
collecting,
everything, music, everything.
Still gotta get that movie night planned.
We got movie nights planned. We got future giveaways planned. So if you haven't, you're missing out. You're missing out. You absolutely can.
Of course.
I think it's in the link in our bio, right? On Point 3? Yeah. Link's in the bio. If not, reach out to one of us and we can send you the invite.
Yeah.
So
appreciate that.
But yeah, thank you. But everybody, we're going to leave you guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one. But until then, keep watching, keep reading, keep nerding out. We'll see you guys later.